cold open today. By the time this airs, it will be World Book Day. I want to use this opportunity to give a big shout out to library people, educators, administrators, IT people, researchers, artists, placemakers, journalists, writers, publishers, and so on who work so hard to make sure the public has decent access to information, knowledge, lifelong learning, works of imagination, culture, history, and community, and so on. I know the value of your work because I am one of you. So thank you so much. Back to the episode. Hello and welcome to Between the Stacks, a podcast about libraries and library people. I am your host, Anna Au. Joining me today is
Paulina Milewska,
and your library is
Information and Library Center of the Medical University of Łódź.
I've heard that you are the coolest librarian in Poland and you have a story to tell us why.
Yeah, so my story is how I become the Bicyclist librarian in Poland. And it started in 2009. When I was a young librarian, I was passionate about city cycling, and I was wondering how to connect my two passions, so libraries and bicycles. The Bicycle Librarian event at that time only existed in my head. It was the project that's supposed to encourage librarians to move outside of the comforts of the library buildings. And also, I wanted to encourage the readers community and the library fans to ride bicycles together. I just wanted them to have the opportunity to spend time with people who shared their interests in books, libraries, reading, and cycling. And the idea was, on the one hand, to mobilize librarians, and on the other hand, to show library users that librarians are nice and normal people, despite the popular stereotypes. So in 2009, I didn't manage to realize the dream. At my workplace, I put a visualization graphic of the Bicycle Librarian event on the wall. It was a small drawing of cyclists moving from one library to another with some kind of flags and slogans promoting readership. I strongly believed that both a bike and a library give freedom and that it was worth promoting. I wanted to show how those two ideas intersect and that they both give independence and let you just, spread your wings. My idea was revived when I changed my job. I met two wonderful girls who decided to help me with this unusual bicycle and library project. While searching for support, I came upon a pro-cycling organization, the Phenomenon Foundation. Today, I'm its board member. They gave me a reality check. So they told me of all the difficulties that I could have with a bike ride for the large group of people. People who would follow a trial of the Łódź libraries in the city center. At that point, this idea seemed so simple to me, but they told me about the cooperation with the municipal office, the necessary permissions, the involvement of the police, the safety and public meeting regulations, etc. But I didn't give up. I gained support, and in 2010, my idea, colorful and lively, was put into action from the start to the finishing line. What I didn't know was that the finishing line, which was then located at the library of Łódź University of Technology, would only become one of the many stops. I was struck by the friendliness of librarians, their openness and curiosity about my unusual bicycle and library idea. So they believed in me, they trusted me, they got involved, and most of those first bicycle librarians are still my friends and colleagues today. We support each other in various situations, we cooperate, and we enjoy each other's company whenever we can. Back to my story. 2010 turned out to be the beginning of the great bicycle librarian adventure. Each year, my idea attracted more and more fans and coordinators. Imagine that at one point we had almost 300 editions of the event in Poland and over a dozen abroad. And each year, over 12,000 cyclists joined the ride with our librarians. It was a great success, of course, of many, many people. And for me, it was with a lot of surprise and disbelief that people had actually come to love That's cycling madness. They organized their own events in their own hometowns with their own rules. As a coordinators, we provided them with an idea, with branding and know-how. We supported them and gave advice, but they did most of the work themselves. It turned out that the project met the needs of libraries. There were enough space for the events and enough people to organize them. There were city and village editions, recreational and sports editions. We had light 10-kilometer hikes as well as grand expeditions that ran between big cities, even up to 65 kilometers long. There was a group of bicycle fans from Kalisz. They used to go on the bicycle ride to Poznań, which took them 120 kilometers on the bike one way. On the rides, we had many different groups. They took part in the rides together. So we had librarians from various types of libraries, representatives of schools, cultural institutions, the authorities, the law enforcement services, firefighters, activists, teachers, animators, parents, children, and elderly people. What's funny, animals also took part, ranging from dogs and cats to a ferret in Zabrze. We rode through the streets, parks, forests, shopping malls, and even at the airport ramp. We organized book crossing, contests, field games, bonfires, and very nice competitions for the best bike decoration. In all that madness, I found my happiness and satisfaction and a great opportunity for self-development and to search for my professional path. I attended conferences, did trainings, met hundreds of professionals. I wrote articles and spoke about the Bicycle Librarian project, but I also spoke about what interested me. So, the best practices, changing the image of libraries, and building a library's brand. Along the way, I received awards for my activities for benefit of the library community. I also changed jobs a few times along the way, but the Bicycle Librarian project followed me everywhere. It helped me open doors and find opportunities for collaboration and running various projects. Thanks to the Bicycle Librarian project, I not only enlightened librarians so that they started acting in unusual manner, but I also unlocked my own potential. As a beautiful result of the project, we set up a network of bicycle librarians, which is still active and gives energy for action. In retrospect of 10 years, I look at that first ride as the beginning of all the good things that have happened to me on my professional path. It has been fruitful, adventurous, and full of wonderful and enthusiastic people. And today, I can call myself a creator, an initiator, a coordinator, a leader, and the Bicyclist librarian in Poland.
Bicycle went to a lot of impossible places like the airport ramp. Who would do that with a library event? This project brought people to impossible places and got them to imagine and see impossible things, which is a lot like Alice in Wonderland. By the way, fun fact, Alice in Wonderland is the first book I received as a present. Anyway, back to Bicycle. The participants and even the coordinators are like Alice. They got curious about the rabbits and went down the rabbit hole, which eventually led them to the world where impossible things and unimaginable things can happen. I have a lot of feelings about Alice in Wonderland, so please accept my apology for keep referencing it. Okay. Bicycle. This act of merging two uncanny things to form one thing for sure blew people's mind. I think it gave people a mental exercise to break free from thinking that we have to use the same way to do things when it doesn't work so well. So yeah, I think it is a form of freedom. Speaking of freedom, Paula, you mentioned that both biking and libraries offer people freedom. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, of course. So I think that the libraries give people freedom because you can imagine library as an institution that is the most open institution, because everybody can join the library And also we are open not only as a space for the people, but also we help people to open their minds because of our collections, and because of that they are publicly accessible. So I think freedom goes with libraries and also with bikes, because on the bike, when you are on the bike, you are independent. You can do whatever you want, and you can go on the ride, you can go any place you need in your own time. You don't have to wait for the bus. You don't have to pay for the gas. You are just independent person, and you can follow any trail. And also I believe that during the biking, your head is clearing, your thoughts are going out, and you can somehow reset yourself. Does that make any sense?
It makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I agree. Biking can clear someone's head, and that's usually the time I get my best research ideas. And another fun fact, I got this idea to make a podcast when I was biking to groceries one day, and then we are recording this podcast. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I really hope to see new bicycle events when it can happen again. And Paula, what's your biggest takeaway from this project?
I believe that my biggest takeaway would be that with cooperation and with right people, you can do impossible things. Because the idea of Bicycle Librarian was some kind of, crazy idea. Yeah. Who would do something like that? Who will connect bicycles and libraries together into one project? So I believe that cooperation was the main thing that make this project possible, because I didn't tell that in my story, but we have more than 2,400 bicycle librarians in Poland right now. So these are the librarians who somehow are connected to the project. They are organizers or participants of the rides. And, this is very, very large community. And in the network of organizers, I think we have more than 500 people, like active librarians who cooperate together to make it possible.
Can you tell us where we can find some information about Bicycle?
Just find the Bicycle on the Facebook. You can connect us via Messenger, or you can find my profile, and I will also answer your questions.
I have another question. How do we spell bicycle?
Bicycol.
Okay, so people can just find information of Bicycle on Facebook, and I will also include the website of this project in the page of this episode. Paula, what's new in the stacks?
This year, we are hoping to build a new website for Bicycle Librarian project. And also, I hope that we can create some more information in English for you guys.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. And I am looking forward to the new events of Bicycle. In the Bicycle events, the organizers and participants got on their bikes and had plenty of adventures together. The activities added another layer of social meaning to the places they have biked to, and they became personally invested in these places. I believe when they go to these places again, they would recall the fond memory of spending a wonderful time together. Being able to be in each other's company, they opened up a dialogue with each other. They discovered that each other is more than what they seem to be. All because they had a shared human experience in the same physical environment. The physical environment that fosters social bonds like that is known as social infrastructure, which is something that might have been taken for granted before the pandemic. I hope we get to see and hug each other again soon. Meanwhile, I will put more information about social infrastructure on the website. Thank you for listening. Between the Stacks is created and hosted by me, Anna Au, and music is by Sam Simon. More information about this episode can be found in www.betweenthestacks.org. Do you have a library story? Do you like biking? What's the most unimaginable thing you have ever done? Or do you have suggestions? Let me know. Email me to betweenthestacks.thepodcast@gmail.com or tweet to me at between_stacks. Stay tuned and subscribe, and I will see you next Friday. Between the Stacks.